Morning, everybody. I'm Donna Swanson from Focus Center for Autism, and you are watching Life on the Spectrum. Thank you, Nutmeg TV, for allowing us to have our show. Focus has been in existence for 21 years now, providing services to the autism spectrum and the families in the community. And we have 2 residential programs, and we also have the Fresh Start School, which is where we happen to be today. We have a unique opportunity today to talk with some of our students about what it's like to be on the spectrum, but more, we also want to talk about what we're doing here at the Fresh Start School. And they will be posting up our information for our website and our Facebook. Please like us on Facebook. We love it when people like us on Facebook, and we have a lot of different things. We have a lot of different shows on Nutmeg TV that talk about all different kinds of things. So if you're interested, please check us out. Today we have on our panel 3 of our young adults. I would call them young adults, right? Because I think I'm still a young adult. We have John, McKenzie, and Ian, and Dan, my co-host, as always. So I was just going to ask you guys very briefly, what do you think one of your strengths of being on the autism spectrum is, John?
Well, me personally, I believe that one of my strengths is that even though I can be considered shy in some places, once I get around the right people, I can become very sociable. It all depends. Like usually in like regular public schools, I was fine for the most part, but socially I was not the greatest.
Shaky.
Very, very shaky.
And how did that make you feel inside to feel socially unstable, kind of?
Well, at first, when I first came here, it kind of was the same for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But just after a while, I opened up a bit, like I'm sure you saw after the first year or 2.
Mm-hmm.
First year or 2, right?
Yeah, first year.
I think that's important, though, for people to know that just once even when you were in a safe environment, it took you time to warm up and trust and feel comfortable enough to start taking those social challenges and chances, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What is one of the challenges of being on the spectrum?
At least me personally, I can't say that I have too many challenges, except the stigma that a lot of people seem to have. They don't seem to understand that autism isn't just like one certain condition, like one condition. It's a variety, like it can be from A to Z.
Right. And I think that's really important for people to understand. One of the things that a famous person with autism said, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, because it is so different, and that's why they call it a spectrum, and because no 2 are alike. So thank you, John. And I do have to say that, John, you have just grown incredibly socially. I'm not talking just height-wise, I'm talking socially. You've blossomed here. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
So thank you. McKenzie, how long have you been with us, Miss?
10 years.
10 years. And you started as a very shy, unhappy young lady.
Mm-hmm. I'd get into a lot of trouble.
You would get into a lot of trouble? This little angel would get into trouble? What would you do?
I wasn't really listening to staff and not follow directions.
And you were unhappy.
Yeah, I was. Because the school wasn't really doing good for me.
Not this school, but
no, the other school.
the other school. You were getting bullied and misunderstood.
They wouldn't like listen to me either. Like they'd walk away from me if I try to like ask them a question if I needed help.
So what would you say one of your challenges of being on the spectrum is?
I guess being able to not be shy anymore.
So that's your strength now, and that was also a challenge, is being really shy and feeling insecure.
Yeah.
How did we help that?
You just made, like, you asked me for help. You gave me lots of help.
Yeah, and understanding, and one of the things we know is she needs her space, right?
Yeah, can I add something?
Yes,
I feel
please.
like a loving push we've also given you, that sometimes you'll give us attitude back, but we don't say no, to that. We kind of keep pushing you along, but you know that you can trust us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like that, the loving push, because everybody needs a little push. So thank you, McKenzie. Did you want to add anything else real quick before we go on to the next
No.
thing? Okay, thank you, honey. Ian, it's so nice to have you here. I know that you've been wanting to have a voice for quite a while. What are one of your strengths for being on the autism spectrum?
I feel like one of my strengths is being social with other people. It really helps me build a lot more relationships with other people, such as my friends here at Focus, and it just I really benefit from it, honestly.
And what is a challenge?
Challenge, I would say, is how others outside of the spectrum look on me. That's kind of like a stereotype right now for everybody.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like, I don't know, like,
Make you feel like you don't belong?
yeah,
But you feel like you belong here?
yeah.
Yeah.
This place is my home anyways.
Yep. And one of the things that you sometimes it's hard for you to get out exactly what it is that you're thinking, right?
Yeah,
So having the time and some help with that, but you've become very happy lately, huh?
yeah,
And you're one of the people on the spectrum where social was not a problem for you,
yeah,
but maybe doing the social in the right way might have been a problem.
yeah,
Okay, and so now you're doing much better with that.
yep.
Awesome.
A lot better. I've improved on it drastically.
You look
Okay.
happier to me. You do. Look at you. I don't know if you guys can see, but he's smiling under that mask. Dan, we were going to talk a little bit about what's going on here at the Fresh Start School. So, and
Yes.
at the annex in
So-
particular.
Yeah, because all these guys are part of the transition program. We have a schedule through the week that we focus more on like independent living skills. What are some of the things we do? You
Go to
guys,
job placements.
we do some job placements. Ian, do you think it's like
Mindfulness.
mindfulness? We have health classes. We also do a cooking class. John, can you explain the whole process of what we do for our cooking?
Well, usually during the week, when we're not doing other activities like Wonder, some of the things Lee mentioned, we research recipes for our class to do as a whole and some other students at the other school. And on usually Thursdays or Wednesdays, we go shopping for all the ingredients we need, and the next day on Thursday, we spend most of the day creating that recipe.
So yeah, it's not just cooking, it's not just we give a recipe, it's the whole process we're trying to do. And everyone, I've been so happy with how much all of the students have loved it. Like, I've never gone to the grocery store with people who are as excited to go to the grocery store. Every Wednesday, it's like everyone's high point is we got pudding today, and that was my favorite thing today.
And last week when I came here, you guys were making pulled pork that smelled absolutely delicious, and it was such a simple recipe. And then John, you showed me some kind of pie or
It was.
I think that was 2
Yeah,
weeks
we all
ago.
made that like 2 weeks ago, I think.
yeah, or was it Oreo?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you've done some interesting recipes.
But the good thing too is there's been some bumps. What is something we learned about cooking, McKenzie?
The time management.
Time management was a big issue at the beginning for all of us, even me. As you're doing a new thing.
Not surprised, Dan,
Yeah.
about time management.
So what was difficult was we'd have everything, but then assigning roles as we were starting, it was difficult and got a little chaotic. I remember McKenzie, you would get a little stressed out,
I
right?
still kind of do.
Yeah, and there's too many people around. But what did we do since then? What have we changed?
Communicate.
Communicate better. Yeah. What else, McKenzie?
We also been having Miss Nora put us individual people in charge of one recipe, or if we did two, we would do one group would do one recipe.
We're getting everything set out beforehand, so they do, and this is not just me, it's a lot of staff in this process, that when we're making the shopping list for our cooking, the person also puts, we also assign roles for when we are cooking, what are we gonna do, but we do that a few days before, so we know what to expect, and it's all planned out. What do we do at 9:30 now? Because we usually start cooking at 10, and we would start at 10. What do we do at 9:30 now, John?
Usually we start preparing, we take out all the utensils we need, all the ingredients we have, and put them on the table and space them out.
Yep.
Like we have one recipe over here, one recipe over here. Got our tools ready, so so whenever we're ready to go, we just have everything we need.
Yep.
And you know what? It's so planning ahead and people knowing what is expected of them. I know that helps for everybody, but especially on the autism spectrum, it really helps. You know, nobody likes, transitions are hard, nobody likes too much sensory overload. So we learn through trial and error, and you guys also help us learn what works and what doesn't work by how you handle things. And I really am happy that you all feel that you have a voice and can communicate, because we can't fix what we don't know.
Yeah, what do you guys think the past few weeks? Has it been stressful cooking?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, but as much as the first few weeks?
No.
It was just mostly towards the beginning.
Mostly towards the beginning,
It's been-
but we're working together, right, to
It's
figure that
been
out.
mostly like observant, because like there's a lot of things we do wrong and there's a lot of things we do right, and honestly I feel like that's just a learning experience for everybody, for all of us, because not everybody's perfect at just one thing, because that wouldn't
Yeah.
just
We're all-
And that's how we learn
Yeah,
too,
we're all-
right?
we're
We
all
wouldn't
right.
learn if everything was going just right.
Yeah, and I would say that's also part of our cooking process is what do we do after? I know sometimes if we have time, we put on a movie, and while we're eating, we watch a movie, but what do we do also after?
We discussed how we did.
So that's kind of where this came from, the getting ready more at 9:30 is we're like, that seemed chaotic, what was going on, everyone? So we debriefed, and like everyone seemed to, they didn't know the role right away, so would be easier if we do that. So from these discussions as a group, we figured out the best ways, and it's good to know that, because when you're cooking by yourself at home, if you don't have all the stuff ready beforehand, what do you think is going to happen? Even if you're not working with people, you know, it's going to get overwhelming, and you might put the wrong thing in because you're like, you're in the state. What part of your brain is firing?
the amygdala.
The amygdala.
The amygdala.
So when you're stressed out, you might make mistakes. Whereas this is a good lesson of planning ahead, getting everything ready, so you know what to expect. You're ready.
Dan, give a brief rundown on the amygdala.
The amygdala is what part of the brain?
Your prefrontal cortex.
No, that's the other part.
No,
John, do you know?
Forward lobe,
Yeah. What does it do? What does it control? Does everyone remember?
fight or flight.
The fight or flight. So it's when you're anxious, and that's kind of like your impulsive decision making. And that's what I think John had mentioned, we were doing more mindfulness classes, moving some of our decision making from the immediate impulse, anxiety, amygdala to our prefrontal cortex, which is the more reasoned, in thinking through things.
So that just highlights how one of the big hallmarks of autism is anxiety that really gets in the way, and the same with the sensory issues. So when we try to keep those down, we have better success with learning, and people want to do more because we've met the needs of making people feel comfortable.
And that's social too, right? I would say, Ian, if we were feeling anxious, we might say things we don't mean.
yeah.
But if we're in a calmer place, we're thinking through what we're saying. That's what a lot of us are working on too.
So what else do you guys do in transition? You guys go out in the community, right? John, what's one place that you go that you like?
What was your favorite community outing we've had so far?
Hard to pick.
You don't have to pick a favorite's hard.
Yeah.
Pick one that you liked.
One that we did a month or so ago is we went to the nearby Collinsville, on a tour of the town.
Yeah.
And what did you like about that?
We got out of the building, saw what there was to see, and got to experience nature and what to expect on the side.
Yeah.
By the way, checking out our Facebook pages for the Fresh Start School or Focus Center for Autism, you'll see these guys everywhere and what they're doing in the community. McKenzie, what was one of your ones that you enjoyed?
I liked bowling.
Bowling? Good. Were you a good bowler?
Yeah, how'd it go?
It didn't really go well as I thought it would. So I ended up having to use a dinosaur. Yes, I said that.
I wasn't gonna say that, I wasn't gonna say
What's
it.
the dinosaur?
Oh.
Explain it to us, Mackenzie.
So they have like, they have like the things for the little kids to roll off of.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to use. But it was like a dinosaur.
Did it work?
No.
I have to use the bumpers and they don't work either.
Because
so.
Dan messed it up the first time.
But one of my favorite things, what happened on your last frame, Mackenzie?
He kind of jinxed it, but it was a good jinx. I got like kind of a strike, but like half of a strike.
A
It was
spare?
almost,
It was a spare.
and what I liked though is everyone was supportive of each other, everyone was just having fun when we went bowling, it was a great outing in that way, no one was, I mean, Ian did win, I have to say. But no one was getting competitive, everyone just trying to have fun with it.
I think that's something that's very important to say too, is that you guys are all so supportive of each other, not only in this building, but in the other building, of each other in general. And that, I don't think that's something people realize about the Spectrum, is how kind they are to each other, because I think they're so grateful to be in a place where they feel comfortable and safe. Ian, what was one of your trips that you liked?
Flatbread.
Well, that's a job placement, right? So you can talk about it.
Oh, Applegate Valley, or,
Applegate Farm.
yeah,
I don't know if we went there.
Yeah, we did.
we
We
did?
did?
Yeah.
We went apple picking.
Oh yeah, the apple, Rogers Orchards.
Right,
Oh, Rogers.
No, you got me, yeah, so Rogers Orchard, yeah, we went apple picking.
and you, that's, so you
Had
like,
a brain fart there.
and then what did you do,
We picked apples there.
and then did you make something with the apples, or?
We made apple crisp.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
I got to chew on some apples too, so.
Yeah.
That's good sensory.
Yeah, so we have,
They
we've
were
done
really good too.
some other things we've done. We've gone to a bank, we've gone to downtown Simsbury. What other trips have we done? We went on many hikes.
Oh, we went to the. What's that?
I don't remember.
Plant trees one time.
That was last year. We did plant trees, but that was last year.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot of community.
Oh yeah, we
outings.
went to the bridge.
Oh yeah, the bridge. That was part of the
Oh,
Simsbury.
the flower bridge.
And it's a lot of our community outings. Some of them are like going out and doing fun things like bowling, but some of them are just walking around, like John said, just in Collinsville, just around town,
And getting to know the world and looking up and this is part of our town, etc. What want to talk about work placements?
Yeah, so Ian, you touched upon it. So can you talk about Flatbread? So that's what your placement on Monday, right?
Yeah,
So you go to Flatbread Pizza Company
Yeah.
in Canton?
in Canton. Yeah,
And what
just-
are some things
I
you
think just right up down the street in the Canton outlet.
and what are some of the things you helped there with?
I help with shredding the mozzarella cheese,
Mhm.
and I also sweep
Mhm.
the floors over there, so
And so
it's a really nice environment in
Yeah.
there too.
And they're really nice to us, and they're really appreciative of our help we could give, and they're just really impressed by all our students.
And you also told them about us too.
Yeah, and what do we do at the end usually? After we do all the tasks, what does he let us do?
Make pizza.
Yep, so we're learning how to make the pizzas too.
You get to
Yep.
sample that too?
We usually get a whole
When
pizza to
you-
ourselves.
When you ripped your pizza apart.
Yeah, I'm not the best at it, but I'm learning. But I think it's a really good placement for them, and it's really in the community, and they're really doing a great job with it.
And what's another community place?
Mackenzie, what's the placement you usually go to?
A dog grooming place.
And what do you help with there?
I help with do like chores and or sometimes if they're nothing for me to do, or if I do them all, I could just hang out with the dogs.
Which is something you love, right?
I do love
Do you
that.
know the name of the place that you go to?
Mac and Molly's.
Mac and Molly's, and they're very good to you too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're really nice.
Yeah.
They just tell me that if the more the job basically is just like hanging out with the dogs. That's what they told me.
That's really important though, because they're not with their families, you know,
They're
so they need to
sad,
have people around them that can care and take care of them.
But I can do a good job of that.
John, what's one of your placements?
He's had a few. I want you to talk about a few of them.
Yeah, I would like you to talk about a few of them.
Well, at least so far this year, I've only had one, which was going to a blacksmith shop and, working with metal and all that fun stuff.
What are you making?
Currently, I'm personally making a candle holder in the shape of a dragon.
Very
Wonderful.
Excited. We're
That's
very excited to see it.
Yeah.
What is one you did last year?
Last year, I went to a farm called Shepherd's Meadows and worked with horses,
Why did that?
grooming them, cleaning them, taking care of them, all things.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
Oh, yes, very much.
Yeah, and McKenzie and Ian have done that too, right?
I have done that.
Yeah, so that's actually one we're doing with our kids who aren't in the transition program right now. They are, I think it's today actually, they went to Shepherd Meadows. So, and there's one other one you did, before the pandemic started.
Oh, yeah, also worked at a motorcycle shop for a couple weeks.
So, one of our main goals too is to find placements that would fit with our students. So we know that John has a more of an engineering mind, putting stuff together and helping out in a shop type place. So that's why we're thinking blacksmith, we're thinking the motorcycle place. McKenzie loves animals. So we found that one for her, because we know that's, might be a job she gets in the
I'm also
future.
into photography too.
Yeah, and also we were looking for some photography thing. And Ian, working at the pizza shop, I know that's what you like too, being
Yeah,
very busy.
also Lee does too.
Yes, yeah.
Unfortunately, he's not here right now.
Yeah, and we have another student who goes to the pizza shop, and he did blacksmith last year.
Oh, yeah.
So-
But he started it.
I forgot about that, yeah.
So we try to find a lot of different places, that fit what our students are interested in, or it could be a job later, or in the future. I have another question. So we do other topics other than having community outings and going to job placements, because I know you guys really enjoy it. What are some of the topics that you're not enjoying learning about, that we have to learn about? Because it's hard to grow up sometimes. I feel like this is a struggle for a lot of kids, not just people on the spectrum, but what are some topics?
I would answer that question with math.
Math.
Yes, but we don't do it anymore.
What about a topic today that you?
Politics.
Yeah, and in politics, and one of the things we're doing with politics, and I've gotten some pushback on this, but is reading a news article and bringing it to everybody's attention once a week, current events. Sometimes we don't, it's all negative. I've heard McKenzie, you say that, but it's important to know what's going on,
I
right?
know, what was, health, I'm not really into health.
Health is sometimes difficult. Why is that
It's only-
difficult sometimes?
It's only difficult for me because I've had experience with the stuff that we've talked about.
So it kind of is a trigger for you
Yes.
in some ways? It stirs
The
up memories or?
Yeah, the last topic that we talked about was alcohol,
Mhm.
and it was just not a big thing for me.
Yeah.
You know what, Mackenzie, that's really important, and thank you for sharing that, because I think people don't always know what goes, when you're uncomfortable with something, that might have been a problem in your family, right? So that started, it was a problem.
And she shared that with me, and that was great, because we were able to share it with the teacher, because we have someone who comes in and teaches the health class. So we talked about communication. That's a great skill for independent living, is being able to communicate stuff like that, with the reasoning behind something. I would say another class that I've noticed a little bit pushback. Oh,
I
sorry.
didn't hear from John what he did.
Oh, sorry.
Talking about.
I guess banking.
Banking. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it can be, there's a lot of terms you don't know. What is this? What does that mean?
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that, we do a class, I think someone mentioned it, Wonder, I think it was you, John. So it's financial literacy and learning banking and savings accounts and checking accounts. I've noticed people aren't as keen to learn about this or interested in it, but it's so important. And they have been taking part in it and doing a good job. One of the, how do we set up a savings account? What are all these different terms? I noticed that it's a lot of information. I noticed with a few of you, it's too much information.
Mm-hmm.
But we've talked also about how this is so important for everyone to learn, right? And I feel like you all understand that. But it's still hard learning it.
Right. It's not only is it hard learning it, it's hard practicing it.
Yeah.
Too. But it is important, because without money we don't have food and a life.
And what were we just talking about, budgeting, right? Having good plans for, should I really spend this money on this, or should I really save it and be spending on my needs versus what your wants?
Want.
Yep.
Needs versus wants. That's a really I think that's a really important question, and that's I often ask myself before I do something: is this a need or is it a want? That doesn't. If it's a want, that doesn't mean I'm not. That doesn't mean I won't get it if I can afford it. But needs come first.
Yeah, and I think with all these different things we're doing, it's with our transition programs, all the different aspects. So we're teaching these classes, but just getting into community. Even going bowling, it's so important just to be used to getting out there and doing things that are fun. And even staff hadn't been apple picking before. New experiences are always important.
Well, you know what? We're trying to teach you guys not only the principles of life and what you need and schooling, et cetera, but we also want you to have a life that has meaning for you when you do leave here. John, what would you like to do? Do you think about your future and what you might do with it?
Yes, I believe that after I finish this is going to be my last year here, most likely. I'm going to probably pursue a college degree, most likely an associate's degree at my local community college.
And what's your interest?
Engineering and political science.
Awesome. Engineering and political science?
And you've already started taking some classes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because John, that's another aspect of the program too, is we're helping him, the study skills sometimes, or managing how to get through college, signing up for classes, knowing what you need to get, knowing what you need to be able to graduate or get an associate's degree. But you're doing it, you're doing really well. I'm really proud of you.
McKenzie, quickly, what would you like to do after you graduate? Do you have, or in the future?
I kind of I kind of want to be in some movies, or do some filming and photography.
Cool. Ian?
I was thinking about, maybe getting a job at a grocery store or something, just for now.
Yeah, that's very smart.
As a first time job, just to get me exposed to a little bit more routine things.
Yep.
That's great.
So you can have and they take pretty good care of you in grocery stores. I mean, in terms of benefits and wages and moving yourself up. You know what? We are almost out of time here. I would like to each to do one appreciation. John, what did you appreciate about being able to be on this today?
Well, basically just having this at all, because I know we've been trying for the last almost 2 years for doing this, and because of COVID, we really killed the chance for over the last year. So I'm really glad we got to do this today.
McKenzie?
I really liked it. I liked telling my story.
Ian?
I liked telling my story as well. I feel like it's important for everybody to know what our stories are, because it can be inspirational in some kind of way for everybody.
Yeah, and I appreciate how well everyone did, because it's not easy being on camera, not easy talking to everybody about these type of things. Everyone did. I just appreciate how well everyone
That's
did
what
it.
I appreciate, is that we finally got to do it. Dan, you came up with a great alternative plan for us today, and it really it's what we've been waiting to do for a long time. Now, what is the one thing we're going to say as we exit here?
Kenzie?
See you soon.
See you soon.
See you soon.